What's going on, guys? All right, we are live and still waiting to figure out where our draft pick is, but here in the Megalabowl, drafting for a massive tournament. So our strategy is going to be a little bit different. For any of you that have ever done tournaments before, like, there's 6,000 people in this thing. So to actually create a lineup that is going to make sense for being able to take down the tourney, it's going to have to be a little bit different. So we're probably going to try to do some stacks today and differentiate our lineup the best that we can. But also just be following our rankings, the pre-coded in for the specific rules for this league. Now, there's some different little nuances here. First and foremost, we've got 1 point per carry. I'm sorry, 0.1 points per carry. So that's pretty interesting as well. And then also we have 0.1 points per pass completion. So that's going to definitely make things a little bit more interesting here in terms of who we end up going with. I really think, I'm hoping that Derrick Henry falls. I think that is going to be the best pick here. Looks like we're pick number 4. Give me a second. Perfect. Sorry, I'm just trying to obscure everyone else's names here. Not sure if anyone else wants to be on the live stream with us tonight, but obviously Christian McCaffrey goes first. That makes total sense, even in this format. If anything, that makes him even more useful because he still sees a ton of carries. Don't really even get that much of a differentiation between him and like Derrick Henry, but even with these first couple of picks, you kind of stay chalk even in a tournament, typically. I mean, you don't want to be slaves to ADP, right? Especially in a tournament setting. That being said, like, there's no way I wouldn't be taking Christian McCaffrey first overall. Quarterbacks are worth a little bit more in this league as well, at least the good ones, but I don't really think it's going to make too much difference in the end. Trades are allowed, although I don't know how much trading is actually going to get done. So we're probably going to have to kill it pretty much at our draft and play through the waivers for the most part. I'm hoping. Looks like we have a few people that are not quite here yet. So hopefully once we get going, this will go a little bit faster and we don't have to go through auto drafts for the first couple picks. But yeah, as I said, we're looking to see if we can get Derrick Henry of this first pick. But I mean, I'd be happy with Elliott or Barkley if someone jumps up and grabs Henry here. And then the roster settings, it's 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and 2 flex. So you can prioritize running back a little bit more than usual because you technically can start 4 of them. And with getting that additional boost in carry count, I think that's definitely going to help a lot. Just based on our projections, we have, 11 running backs that are projected to outscore the number 1 receiver. So it's pretty imperative that you have a pretty strong running back group here. So as I said, we're going to take Derrick Henry here, start off with incredibly high upside, especially if Derrick Henry ends up getting the receiving work that it's looking like he might be getting. Very happy with that overall pick. I'm glad we got pick number 4. Hoping that we can still grab a guy like James Conner on the way back around because, as I stated, this is going to be really, really imperative that we get good running back core here. Let me try to fix the screen for you guys real quick. Sorry, like I said, I'm trying to obscure everyone's name here and not bring them into the stream. 1 second. Whoops. Wow. All right, so Clyde Edwards-Helaire goes at 1-6. I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Most of the people that listen to the footballers are probably in on him. And honestly, I feel like at this point, everybody's in on the running back out of KC. Dalvin Cook goes at pick number 5. I ended up drafting Gavin Cook in my main league. Wasn't actually expecting it to happen, but he dropped all the way to the 1-9. So I now get to ride that roller coaster with you guys. I mean, what we're hearing out of the beat writers in Minnesota is it's looking like Dalvin Cook is actually going to play. The whole season doesn't sound like he has any intention of holding out. I'd still want to grab Madison for injury insurance and on the off chance that something changes and all of a sudden he does. But, I mean, we'll see. All right, so this guy isn't here either. Hopefully they all log in, like I said, but I think it does put them on auto draft once they miss their first pick. So if we have anyone else that isn't here, this draft should move along a little bit faster once we get through this first round. Looks like everybody else is here at this point. So yeah, it's a total of 16 roster spots. I said 9 starters between a quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, 2 flex, and a defense. Take off Josh Jacobs. I highly doubt Nick Chubb will fall in this format. He would be another really good pick, considering that 0.1 for carries. It's also half PPR, not full PPR, so another reason why the running backs are so dominant in this format. See, Michael Thomas goes off at the 110. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if a receiver didn't even go off in the first round. That is, in my opinion, pretty normal in a draft like this. But sup, Beats Balls? How you doing? You in this too? Milo Sanders goes with the 111. I didn't really think I had much chance at getting Derrick Henry and Miles Sanders. That would have been a lot of fun. I have that in one league, but that was an auction league, so I had to pay out the butt to get that. So we see Devante Adams go. So at this point, we've got 2 wide receivers off the board. I mean, that's pretty standard, even like a PPR league these days. So, all right. Coming back to the second round, you got 9 picks away. Nick Chubb goes off the board. I wasn't expecting him to fall. I highly doubt Kenyon Drake or Aaron Jones will fall either. Jonathan Taylor is probably who I would go with if he's still there, because again, this is a tournament, right? So we're shooting for maximum upside. The other thing that's weird is I don't really know if it matters as much, but like the playoffs start in week 11. So I'm not sure if it's going to be a better idea to prioritize guys that don't have bye weeks in that time. Probably won't matter as much for some of my other players, but at least my core guys, I'd like to have a little bit earlier bye weeks. So we see Kenyon Drake go off the board. Aaron Jones and Jonathan Taylor are our next running backs up. Chris Carson goes next. I think that also makes sense in this format. I'm not a huge Chris Carson fan, but he's going to get a lot of carries there. And again, with that 0.1 points per carry, I mean, that's going to end up giving you like an extra 30 points over the course of the year, which is like almost an extra 2 points a game. And being that it's half point per reception, that just gives the running backs like a pretty decent edge. And same thing for like the rushing quarterbacks. Like Lamar Jackson is going to get like an extra decent bit of points at the end of the year. So James Conner goes off the board, and then Tyreek Hill. So at this point, oh, come on. 1 pick away. Really hoping I don't get sniped here. And I did not. So Julio Jones goes off the board. So the big 4 wide receivers are off the board. Again, this is a tournament format, so we are shooting for absolute maximum upside. I'm taking Jonathan Taylor with considering his potential to absolutely dominate in the league. And again, just considering the scoring format being half PPR, receptions aren't as important, and also getting that extra 0.1 points per carry. Like we're shooting for the moon. So normally I probably would have looked at potentially going a tight end there, but you really cap your upside when you draft a top tier tight end because that their upside is already baked into their cost. So you're better off if you're able to nab like a later tight end that turns into Mark Andrews or Darren Waller last year. You know, the majority of the people that won high stakes leagues last year did so with like guys like Mark Andrews and Darren Darren Waller. So that's where we're going to shoot for with tight end. I'm not going to reach here. Antonio Gibson beats balls. You're correct. That's someone else that we're probably going to be targeting in probably the 5th round. We'll see if he falls that far. We'll see how sharp this room is. But guys like that definitely give us way more upside than is baked into their price. So at this point, I'm pretty happy starting Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, 2 guys I think are going to be absolute carry hogs there. Travis Kelce, I'm a little bit nervous. Apparently, he hyperextended his knee this afternoon, and he's potentially going to be missing week 1. It doesn't sound like it's too serious, but it is something to note, which sucks because that happened after most people already did their drafts. I don't know that it would prevent me from drafting him, but kind of like I was saying before, I'm not really looking to reach for an early tight end. With the way you actually win these tournaments, you need to like capitalize on the upside of being able to get like a late round tight end that breaks out. So I'll probably end up going with my favorite receiver option here if there's not another running back on the board that I like. Cam Akers is interesting as well, but he might be able to fall back to us in the 4th. See Kenny G. Was wondering if like all of my guys would end up going like really quickly off the board. So far not. So I'm looking at DJ Moore. My only concern with DJ Moore is that, as I was telling you guys, with the playoff structure impacting weeks 11 on, taking DJ Moore is a little bit of a risk, not having him in week 13, but I could potentially trade him away, or hopefully by that point I've at least done a good enough job for the waivers that I'm not reliant on him, and I think he's going to be able to get me to the playoffs. Gibson went at 501. Jeez, dude. Man. Well, again, in a tournament session, I understand why people would reach for a guy like Antonio Gibson. Same reason why I reach for Jonathan Taylor. Like, you want to make sure you get those guys that have unknown upside, that if they hit, like, your team is now far and away better than the rest of the league, because you have to differentiate yourself between like 6,000 other people. It's not nearly as extreme, but like, think if you play DFS, if you've ever seen like the Millie Makers, the people that win those, like their format or the way that their rosters is constructed is so different than the rest of the league. So, all right. So this is basically, I was thinking if Lamar Jackson fell to us, that we might actually consider him here. I'm glad that they didn't, because I think the goal will be to take Dak Prescott if he falls to us in the 5th. So I like Cam Akers, but not enough to forego the guy that I'm really looking at here. And again, we're really shooting. So Odell Beckham is a guy that I'm looking at as well. And obviously DeAndre Hopkins signed his deal today. I like DeAndre Hopkins a lot. I'm stuck. What do you guys think? I'm stuck between DeAndre Hopkins and DJ Moore. I technically have DeAndre Hopkins ranked a point ahead of DJ Moore in this specific format. DJ Moore is a little bit higher in PPR for me. Help me out, guys. What do you think? I mean, there's a chance that DJ Moore falls to me in the 4th round if people are avoiding that week 13 bye. I think I'm going to go DeAndre Hopkins. Again, we're shooting for upside here. He fell pretty far. So we'll start our draft out with Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and DeAndre Hopkins. Fingers crossed that DJ Moore makes it back to us. I feel like he won't, just because I tend to believe that this room is going to be a little bit sharper than that, and DJ Moore sometimes goes up into the 2nd round. See Robert Woods go off the board there as well. Thank you. This is my wife. Le'Veon Bell. I don't like Le'Veon Bell. Does anyone in this room like Le'Veon Bell this year? Like, give me the upside for what Le'Veon Bell brings to your fantasy team, because I don't understand why we would want to tether ourselves to the running back with Adam Gase when last year he got all the volume in the world and it did absolutely nothing for him. Like, what what is the potential upside this year that Adam Gase is like fired in week 4 and then Le'Veon Bell ends up getting the majority of the workload as the season goes on? Like, is that what we're hoping for? I feel like that's kind of what you have to hope for at this point. Move this over here so I don't spill over my computer. Odell Beckham goes. I really like Odell Beckham in a tournament format like this. If Moore doesn't fall, I am actually hoping that a guy like A.J. Brown does. That's another guy that has tremendous upside. Yes, I know we're going all Titans in this draft, but I don't know. The offensive coordinator in Tennessee might just be a genius after what we've seen. Yeah, so there you go, Ryan. Basically what I was just saying, like, his upside is that Gase gets fired, right? Which I think is a potential like possibility that he would get fired in the fourth, like after week 4. But with the way that they're talking up Frank Gore in that offense, like they're going to give so many carries to other running backs not named Le'Veon Bell just because Adam Gase is, as they say in the fantasy footballers, a beehole. The polite way. Yeah, I don't want anything to do with Adam Gase. Yeah, Herndon with the last pick would be interesting. I feel like, oh, dude, okay, wow, Antonio Gibson at 4-1. My goodness. All right, well, I had no chance to get him, guys. I'm sorry. There's no way I was going to take Antonio Gibson over DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, Kyle, you're a Devils fan too. New Jersey all day. It's been a while since we've been in the hockey playoffs. I barely even pay attention when the Devils aren't in there, but oh well. Man, I'm like, I guess I'm not surprised because, as we said, I'm expecting there to be some really weird roster constructions just based on the fact that it's a tournament. It kind of has to be that way. Like, you have to reach a little bit. But, geez, going at the 4-1, Antonio Gibson. This guy starts out Adams, Cooper Kupp, Antonio Gibson, and Nick Chubb. I mean, I like Adams. Not necessarily as much in this format, but... So at this point, I'm hoping we either get DJ Moore or grab A.J. Brown. Have 3 people with a week 7 bye, but maybe we just only draft people with a week 7 bye. We'll just take an L that week. Okay, so DJ Moore went, which I figured was going to happen. I didn't expect DJ Moore to make his way back to us, which is fine. I like DJ Moore. I like his upside more in a PPR league anyway because he's going to get like 100 receptions, but he'll probably only have like 6 touchdowns. Whereas a guy like AJ Brown, if he falls to us, he is definitely better in formats where it's not as prioritized for receptions, especially in a lower volume offense, but he definitely gives league-winning upside as well. Amari Cooper, I'm kind of out on, especially with him already dealing with an injury. I think we can grab Michael Gallup later. So there's still a few guys I'm looking at here from a receiver position. Running back, I'm just not really into Todd Gurley or Melvin Gordon at this point. Antonio Gibson's off the board. I don't know if you guys use cheat sheets. I feel like I always forget to mark one name off, and then like it comes down to it. I'm like, I could have sworn that guy was gone. I look up, and I have to try to find him where on the board. So Kyle, the backs that are available are Melvin Gordon, Todd Gurley, Mark Ingram, Mostert, Devin Singletary, Kareem Hunt. I feel like we're going to have to take some upside shots and some rookies later. Maybe grab a Zach Moss in the 6th or 7th round. But at this point, the wide receivers are clearly better than the running backs, in my opinion. My concern with Gordon is the fact that he has been being outplayed every single day by Phillip Lindsay, and now it's looking like it's going to be like a 50-50 split, and it will be a hot hand approach each week, and I'm not about that life, unless I have to be about that life, because all 3 of my receiver targets go. So right now, I'm looking at A.J. Brown, Adam Thielen, and Juju Smith-Schuster. So again, talking tournament format, we need guys that have the potential to hit like top 5 at their position. And I think all those guys give us that upside. A.J. Brown, obviously, from an athletic standpoint and just what he did last year when he took over games. Adam Thielen's off the board, so we don't need to talk about him. And then Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, I don't really think there's that much that needs to be said about his potential because we've seen it before. It's just a matter of can Ben stay healthy. All right, so we're going to get one of them. We're going to get one of A.J. Brown or Juju. Todd Gurley goes off the board. I'm leaning A.J. Brown, even though I have Derrick Henry. And the reason why is in tournament formats like this, you want to kind of stack single teams because if the Titans outperform expectations, you get all of that. It's similar to like a best ball format where you want to be overweight on certain teams. And I'm thinking my goal in this one is we're either going to try to stack a bunch of Titans and Cardinals, or we're going to try to stack some Cowboys after this. So I'm thinking A.J. Brown, unless someone can convince me very quickly to go with Juju. Post it in this chat. Got a minute left. My only concern is just stacking it with Derrick Henry. They might not perform in the same week, but I mean, there's really not any other. There's not any other guys in that offense I'm scared about. We're going to take A.J. Brown. We're just going to go balls to the wall. We'll probably take Ryan Tannehill with one of our last picks and just say, tighten up. All right, so we'll see what these guys end up doing. Now, I typically wait on quarterback, but I am interested in Dak Prescott if he makes it back to us. Obviously, I don't think anyone's going to touch him here. I low-key think Dak Prescott is going to outscore the rest of the league, even Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes. However, I don't know that this league is going to reach for quarterbacks. So we might be able to get either Dak or Kyler in the next round, and having the Kyler, Dak, or DeAndre Hopkins stack might be nice. And if Juju makes it back to us, I don't think there's any chance I can take Juju over, or Dak Prescott over Juju, but I don't think he's going to make it back to us with these guys. There's only 2 receivers between the 3 teams ahead of me. So I'm pretty sure they're going to go pretty receiver heavy here. Yeah, so there goes Juju. And Leonard Fournette has really been falling in terms of ADP. It hasn't ever picked back up. I'm sorry if the stream keeps lagging. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Hopefully I'm still coming through okay. So Melvin Gordon goes off the board. And Kareem Hunt. Finally, a league that I don't draft Kareem Hunt. I kept getting him in my other leagues. Like, he just kept falling to me in every single draft I was in. All right, so Terry McLaurin goes off the board. So now we are on the clock again. And I am deciding between, throw out a few names. Mark Andrews is here. But I'm just not bought into taking a tight end this early. We have And one other thing to note in the scoring setting is there's 0.1 points per completion. So a quarterback that's going to throw the ball a lot, Dak, Kyler, more so Dak, is even more, there's more of a potential for differentiation. And again, I'm going for as much upside as possible. Normally, I wouldn't recommend taking a quarterback here. The other person I'm looking at is Tyler Lockett. But I'm hoping that Michael Gallup sneaks his way back to us in the 6th, and we can stack Dak and Gallup. Gibson's gone, brah. Sorry. "45 seconds. I know it seems crazy. I don't like taking quarterbacks this early. But again, considering the format, considering the bonus that's given to quarterbacks, and considering my belief that he's going to be the number one quarterback overall, we're going to go with Dak." Marquis Brown jumping up pretty high in this format too. Again, people shooting for that upside. People shouting Hollywood in the chat. Keenan Allen, the second most paid receiver, goes at 5'8". Still got some decent receivers on the board. Yeah, no, I agree. Antonio Gibson going at the 401 was a little crazy, but it really, like, you have to play these leagues a little bit differently because, in a normal league, you're just trying to beat out 12 teams, whereas in this, you're trying to beat out 6,000 other people. So you got to shoot your shot, make sure you get the guy that you think is going to get you to the championship, which is why I took Dak. I love Tyler Lockett. Don't get me wrong. Like, Tyler Lockett has a place in my heart that will never go away, but if I have the shot to take the guy that I think is going to finish number one overall at the position in the 5th round, after already getting pretty strong start with running backs and receivers, I'm just going to take the shot on Dak. We'll punt the quarterback position late, like our tight end position, we see Mark Andrews and Zach Ertz go, and there Kyler Murray goes. Kyler Murray was the only reason why I was considering potentially not taking Dak, because the potential for being able to stack Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins was strong, but I'd rather go with Dak, and hopefully Gallup makes it back to us at the 6-9. Ertz. DK Metcalf, the 5'11". I think it's funny that there seems to be like a general disagreement amongst most fantasy gamers as to whether DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett is the receiver to own. And I think the fact that they just got Josh Gordon back even solidifies even more that Tyler Lockett is going to be the guy that gets the majority of those receptions. I think DK Metcalf will have some explosive games for sure, but David Montgomery goes at the 5'12". It's pretty decent value, I guess. I'm not really into David Montgomery this year, especially with him already dealing with a groin injury. See, DeAndre Swift is still on the board too. Oh, Sorry, I keep forgetting to push all so you guys can see who's still on the board here. Yeah, I like Lockett a lot. Don't get me wrong. Lockett's one of my guys this year, but Leonard Fournette is still on the board as well. That one is interesting because again, we're talking about upside and what running back at this point. I'm not in on Singletary. I think Zach Moss is going to take that job from him. I like Swift a lot, but I have a feeling he's going to get picked before it comes back to me. We're going for upside, so I don't really need Ronald Jones and Fournette. Because if I pick the wrong one, I probably lost. Because again, we're talking about beating out 6,000 people. James White in this format is a lot less valuable, so you lose out that late round running back upside with James White. Yeah, I'm not sleeping on Fournette. I'm highly considering him if he's still here. I like Gallup a lot, but I think we might be able to sneak him back into the 7th round. Maybe not, though. He's standing here at the 4th best receiver on the board. T.Y. Hilton goes off the board. Zach Moss. So Zach Moss goes over Devin Singletary, and I think that's the sharp play. Devin Singletary is falling hardcore, and I don't plan on being the person to rescue him. Oh, Hayden Hurst. I didn't even notice that. That's a kind of a reach. Why would you take Hayden Hurst in the 6th? All right, so Will Fuller goes off the board. Obviously, he's very upsidey. Same thing with Stephon Diggs. All right, guys. We're on the board. AJ Green just went off. I really, really want Michael Gallup. I'm going to pray to God that he comes back to us. But we need another running back. Running backs are more important in this format. Are we going Fournette? Or are we going Swift? I'm leaning Swift, even though I like Fournette. Mostly because I think Fournette can still come back to us. If we want to go 2 running backs here, if Gallup goes off the board before I can get back to him, I think Swift carries league-winning upside once he takes over that backfield. Adrian Peterson doesn't scare me. Adrian Peterson is there to replace Kerryon. DeAndre Swift has the potential to do what Milo Sanders did last year. They drafted him in the 2nd round. What do you mean they don't trust him? It hurts me to not take Gallup here. Sorry, guys. I got to go with my gut. My gut says DeAndre Swift is the guy. If Fournette comes back, we'll take him there. Otherwise, I'm hoping for Gallup. Shooting for massive ceiling, he could be Reggie Bush. I think I have a much better chance at getting Fournette to fall back to me than Swift. And again, Adrian Peterson is there to take over Kerryon Johnson, who's basically living in a knee brace right now. And Bo Scarborough was just sent to IR, which is another reason why they went after Adrian Peterson. I don't think that has anything to do with DeAndre Swift personally. Yeah, I would have liked to go Moss. And then freaking Michael Gallup goes. That was my worry. But then Debo Samuel, that's interesting. I love how far Devin Singletary is falling. Low key. Absolutely love it. Tyler Boyd. Fournette. Well, you win some, you lose some. Not taking Ronald Jones. Didn't mark off Devontae Parker. All right, so now we're in a weird spot. I don't want to reach up for tight end. Devin Singletary off the board. I like James White. I think he's going to end up being the second best pass catcher in New England. Excuse me. We could reach for a receiver. We got Landry, Julian Edelman, and Marvin Jones on the board, but I don't really believe in them all that much more than guys I can get into the next round. So I think I want to go running back here. There's James White. There's Jordan Howard, who I'm not a big fan of. Ronald Jones, also not a huge fan. So I think the pick here is James White. Or we reach and take a guy like Brandon Cooks. Not really feeling that one. Haha, no, I just don't want to take Rojo. Go James White. Yeah, Kyle, I can explain it again. So effectively, the way this works is, we have individual leagues, but the main thing you need to remember about playing in a giant tournament like this, it's kind of like if you ever heard of like the FFPC, like the main event drafts there, you have to essentially have a team that is uniquely constructed in order to beat 6,000 other teams. Because if you want to actually win this thing, like it doesn't matter if I win this league. Like if I finish first in this league, but my team is just mediocre, it doesn't matter. Like it needs to be absolutely bonkers to take down the championship at the end. So think in terms of like roster construction for like a Millie Maker in a DraftKings lineup. A lot of times when you look at it, it's one of those that it doesn't make any sense looking at it before the games are played because there's some really obscure guys on that roster. But you have to be able to differentiate yourself enough from the group in order to actually be better than 6,000 other people. So that's what I'm talking about when I say I don't want to take like Marlon Mack, because Marlon Mack, if he ends up being the guy, then I've already lost because I would have had to take a better player with my second pick than Jonathan Taylor for that to matter, right? Because if I took Jonathan Taylor in the second and then Marlon Mack ends up being the guy, there's no way I'm beating 6,000 people out with mistaking my second round pick. I could beat 12 people out by screwing up my first 2 round picks, but not 6,000. So hopefully that makes sense. It's not points based overall. It's points based once you get to the last 6 weeks of the season. So you have to win out in your league through week 10, and then it goes into a tournament where they slowly like guillotine people, and at that point it's total points. So it's not head to head anymore. So you have to have like a ridiculous roster by week 11 for you to even have a legit shot at doing anything here. And I've also noticed I've been able to manage to avoid any week 11 through 13 buys. Pretty happy about that. Hockey and things, it's half PPR, but you get 0.1 points per carry. There's no buy-in. It's the fantasy footballers' tourney, and pretty sure the winner just gets fame and glory, and also gets to join their listener league. So it's mostly just for fun. But again, it would be pretty awesome to beat out 6,000 other people. One moment. Ah, crap. Sorry. I think I've already shown these guys' names like 4 times on this thread. Oops. Oh, that's even worse. I'm going the wrong way. Sorry, everybody. Forgive me. I didn't mean to. Oh, well. It doesn't matter. So earliest pick, I would take a wide receiver. Hockey and things, are you talking for your league? Or in this league? I mean, the earliest I take a wide receiver is really going to depend on your league first and foremost. What are your scoring settings? And what is your roster construction? The second question I need to know is at what point, all right, so your standard scoring, all right? So what pick are you in? Are you an early round pick, early first? Are you late first? Are you in the middle? Is it 10 team, 12? So it's 12 team. What is your pick slot? Do you know, or is that random? I've been not been paying any attention to this draft. Sorry, guys. Let's see. All right, so after our James White pick, we see Jarvis go off the board. We see Darren Waller. And then Marlon Mack. I have ranked way low. And then we see 2 quarterbacks. Matt Ryan went over to Deshaun Watson. That one's a little interesting. Marvin Jones, like his upside in a half PPR. We see Kerryon Johnson go. Chris Thompson, another interesting name for sure. And then Jordan Howard. So 8 picks left. All right, so your pick 10, you get 0.1 per yard. Yep, 6 for touchdown, both running back and wide receiver. Yep, that makes sense. In a standard league, I would be nervous about taking Thomas. I really want to have 2 strong running backs, even in PPR. I'm looking for strong running backs, but in the standard league, if you can get a guy like a Nick Chubb, if he falls, I don't think Derrick Henry has any chance of falling to you to pick 10. I mean, trying to think. It definitely lowers the ceiling of guys like Milo Sanders and Kenyon Drake who are going around that spot. So I wouldn't hate it if you took Michael Thomas. I just feel like you're at a significant disadvantage in a standard league when you start off with a wide receiver in the first round. And there's enough running backs this year that if you're in the back half of a league, you can get 2 of them because there's 14 really good guys. So I'm not a huge Josh Jacobs fan in PPR, but I think if Josh Jacobs fell to you at the 110, I'd rather have him than Michael Thomas. I'd probably still rather have Milo Sanders. Definitely rather have Joe Mixon. Where it gets iffy and dicey is when you talk about guys like Aaron Jones and Austin Eckler. In a standard league, I'd probably rather have Julio Jones or Tyreek Hill than those guys. So in the second round would probably be where I'm looking at a receiver. But last year was a historic year for Michael Thomas, and I'm not expecting him to repeat that with Alvin Kamara hopefully being fully healthy again, and then also adding Emmanuel Sanders. So I think he'll regress a little bit again because it's a standard league that really caps his ceiling. And then as Kyle is pointing out to you, there's so many wide receivers, like really, really good wide receivers in the third and fourth rounds. I'm almost always going to recommend that you start your draft with 2 running backs if you're drafting in the back half of the first round, because if you can get 2 stud running backs, then you can double down and get Odell Beckham and DJ Moore, or Odell Beckham and Adam Thielen, or Odell Beckham, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore, and DeAndre Hopkins sometimes even falls that far in standard league. So being able to just load up on receiver, then my target would be the third round, even in a standard league. Unless James Conner falls, which I don't think he would in a standard league. But if James Conner fell, I would just go 3 RBs and then start loading up on receiver. So Matt Breida, might still get Cooks. I probably shouldn't say anything. I have a bad habit of jinxing myself whenever I do these live drafts. As soon as I say somebody's name, they go off the board. But they didn't this time. So someone took Alexander Mattison and capped their upside. I would appreciate that. Someone took Chase Edmonds and got a lot of upside there, and Matt Breida. So Julian Edelman and Brandon Cooks are still on the board, which that makes me happy because I think Cooks has the upside to be the number 1 receiver there. You're welcome. Wait for you guys. Yeah, I'm going Cooks. I don't think I have to think about this one too much. That one's pretty easy to me. A guy that has potential to be the number 1 receiver for Deshaun Watson. Agreed. If he makes it back to us, I'm probably going to take CeeDee Lamb with my next pick. Yeah, I don't think Cook should have fallen this far in this format. Alexander Mattison, Matt Breida, Latavius Murray, Ronald Jones, Marvin Jones, Darren Waller, Matt Ryan, Chris Thompson, Kerryon Johnson. That's 9 people that I would have taken Brandon Cooks over. So we got a little lucky there. Yeah, Shepard's still here. I like Shepard better in PPR though. His average reception typically tends to be a little bit lower. I feel like if we're shooting for upside with the Giants, Darius Slayton is the play. Do you think Shepard gives us a pretty decent floor week to week? So I'm not opposed, but I'm upset that I didn't get Michael Gallup, and I really want a shot at the Cowboys offense. And Amari Cooper is never healthy. So might take a shot at CeeDee Lamb if he's still there. If he's not, though, I think you're right in that we're looking at the Giants receivers and going to choose between them. Or I could just reach for Deshaun Jackson. Sony Michel. I'm glad we took our running backs early. Because I don't really like the running backs at this point in the draft. I don't disagree too. I think Shepard's really good. Um, and I might just take him for the pure fact that he's probably going to be the number one receiver in New York, and I think Daniel Jones is going to be really good this year. Like I said, I think that Darius Slayton definitely has the upside to completely ball out this year too. But at this point in the draft, it's more likely that Sterling Shepard will end up being the guy. So I'm looking at Lamb and Shepard here, and I'm hoping that one of them gets picked before me, so that way I don't have to choose. I think D-Jax is going to be great for like 3 weeks, and then he's going to suck. We'll probably still look to take Jalen Reagar at some point because I think he has the most upside in Philly of everybody there. And because of his injury, he's getting pretty discounted. But I want a team that's good post week 10 as well. Jerry Jeudy goes. This is a part where rookies start going. All right, Evan Ingram off the board. All right, Kyle. Sell me on Shepard so I don't take Lamb. I love Cam, but I already have Dak, so I don't need him. Cam is another one of my guys. I think Cam's going to ball out this year. I like Dak better in this format because it's 6 point for pass touchdowns. But any league that it's 4 points for pass touchdowns, I think Cam is going to be great. I'm leaning on it. I got my finger on the button. I think you're right. And I don't think Shepard makes it back to us. I could potentially trade for Michael Gallup later. Yeah, let's do it. Sterling Shepard, you've won me. You've won me, Kyle. I think I've neglected you enough in not taking Fournette or not taking Juju Smith-Schuster. I'll throw you a bone in the 9th round and take Sterling Shepard. This team's coming together pretty good. We got Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift, James White, Brandon Cook, Sterling Shepard. We'll need to take a tight end at some point. That's probably where I'll get my Cowboy stack and take Blake Jarwin. Ooh, Cam goes. Yeah, no, you're right. Daniel Jones would have broken the record for most touchdowns in a single season if he had played a full 16 games. I think he would have broken Baker Mayfield's record for sure. So, yeah, I like Shepard a lot. And if for some reason they want to let Darius Slayton slip back to me, then we can take him next round. Like I said, I think this is going pretty well, considering we're shooting for upside. Yeah, Cam Newton's ADP has finally started to rise to, I mean, a respectable spot because he should be being drafted around Drew Brees and Tom Brady because his ceiling is top 5. I mean, in the 16 games that any season that Cam Newton has played 16 games in a 4-point touchdown scoring setting, he's finished in the top 4 every single time. I think he's finished like first, third, fourth, and third. So if he plays 16 games and he's as good as Bill Belichick is talking him up to be, I don't see why he can't be at least a top 10, if not a top 5 guy for sure. Which is why I think he's going to totally ball out this year. So I'm definitely on board the Cam Newton train. Oh, dude, 14th round is amazing. Definitely got him in a few best balls pretty late. But yeah, like you said, his ADP is up to like 9th, 10th round now because I think people are realizing that, oh, wait, it's actually Cam Newton. It's not like Jarrett Stidham merged with Cam Newton and had like this weird gross hybrid thing. Like, it's actually Cam Newton. I get a quarterback run going. Come on. Why are you taking? Okay. I don't understand that strategy of taking two quarterbacks, but it is what it is. Yeah, no, I knew the moment that Cam Newton signed that Jared Stidham was done. Like he had absolutely no shot. And it was actually funny because I had to actually argue with quite a few people because I did a draft back in the summertime around July 4th. It was an industry draft. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Scotty Fish Bowl, but I drafted Cam Newton, I think in the 8th round, and that's a super flex league. So that was pretty late for a quarterback for sure. And I was super happy to get him, and people were like, "Why are you drafting him? He's not even be the starter." I'm like, whatever. He's my QB. I think I have him along with in that league the scoring is really weird. So I don't really need to go there. But yeah, there was no way Stidham was ever going to start in New England. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could keep the quarterbacks going here. The other guy I'm low key hoping makes his way back to us because of his chance at upside. It's one of the dumb picks that I don't want to have to make it, but if we're talking potential top 5 finish, is Tyler Higbee or Tyler Higbeast, as some of us like to call him. Everything that they're talking about in Rams camp right now is that offense is literally centered around giving Tyler Higbee and Robert Woods the ball. And last year, Tyler Higbee had one of the best runs of any tight end in history. So in a setting like this, where you're just going for the most broken possible roster ever, I don't know that I'm going to get as much upside as Tyler Higbee. I don't know that he makes it back to me, but if he does, that's probably the pick. We're still a good ways away, though, so I'm going to stop speculating about it. Still got 7 more picks to go, actually. More quarterbacks. Very nice. So rounding out that last round, we had John Brown and then Jerry Jeudy, Evan Ingram, and we took Sterling Shepard. So 2 Giants go right back to back, and looks like Sterling Shepard is not Sterling Shepard. Darius Slayton is still out there. So if we wanted to double up on the Giants receivers, we might still have that option. And after that, Tevin Coleman, Cam Newton, Drew Brees, Matthew Stafford, Josh Allen, Michael Pittman, CeeDee Lamb, and Carson Wentz go off the board. And then Jamison Crowder just went off at the 10-1. It's interesting. I've not been updating my cheat sheet. Let me go do that real quick. Michael Pittman went really high. Can't believe Tom Brady didn't go in that quarterback run. That doesn't make sense. Hunter Henry goes off the board next. My only concern with Tyler Higbee is he definitely is more of a PPR guy. And since this is half PPR, it's not as. But I guess that affects everyone equally, so I won't make that argument. Again, I see a tight end run forming here. So I'm not even sure that he makes it back to us. Well, sorry, my dogs want to be in the video. Christian Kirk was another name I was thinking about there. He definitely has a lot of upside this year, but we already have DeAndre Hopkins, so don't need to double up on Cardinals receivers. And there goes to Sean Jackson, so Kyle, you won't have to worry about me talking myself into him. Mecole Hardman. See, Mecole Hardman is one I don't understand. I know he has a lot of upside, but he basically is living off of the fact that he would have to see. Oh gosh, I got sniped on Higbee. I got sniped on Tyler Higbee. One pick before. Well, we're just going to make sure we get the number one receiver then in New York, and we're going to take Darius Slayton. And I don't care. I think that offense is going to ball out after the first couple weeks. So we'll probably double up on tight end here at some point. Yeah, it's Drops is slowing down right now, which is a little frustrating. But yeah, I like Gesicki as well. But these guys all have a tight end. I'm not expecting them to take two. I mean, we'll see. They might end up taking two. I know, right? Just triple up. No, if there's any receiver that's on his way out, it's Golden Tate for sure. I mean, what is he, 32, 33 now, and he's already hurt in camp? And same thing with AJ Green. Like, at some point, injuries in the offseason mean a lot more, depending on how old you are. Preston Williams goes off the board next. That one, I like Preston Williams, but I don't understand his ADP rise. Like, I mean, I guess he was balling out last year before he got hurt. He had a few good games, so I understand the upside shot. But as long as Devontae Parker is healthy and ready to go, now that I guess that is in question right now. Rob Gronkowski is falling here. Could just go all Titans and take Johnny Smith. We see the first defense go off the board. The San Francisco 49ers go in at pick 12 or 10-12. Emmanuel Sanders next. We're 2 picks away. We might be able to get our guy Gesicki here as well. Right? Just take Johnny Smith and then Ryan Tannehill and just get the whole crew. I mean, if they're still there in the 12th and 13th, I may just do that. But I think the pick is either Gesicki or Gronk, and I'm just not into Gronk. Is anyone is there anyone in here that thinks I should take Gronk over Gesicki? Oh, I can't take Golden Tate now. Darn it. Oh, that would have been funny if I would have gone Golden Tate. All right, Nyheim Hines goes off the board. I'm not going Gronk. We're doing it, baby. We're going Mike Gesicki. We're taking athletic freak there in Miami, and we'll probably take a tight end in the next round. There's still a decent number of guys I like. Blake Jarwin, Chris Herndon, Jonnu Smith, Noah Fant. It's funny that no one believes in him because his ADP in most leagues right now is like 5th, 6th round, but here he is in the 11th, and I still don't want him. Anthony Miller is still here, too. That's another interesting name. Noah Fant. I'm curious to see if a big tight end run happens because this is normally around when they start going. Yeah, Gronk's name. That's what we expected, right? Like once these home leagues would start, people would see Gronk, be like, "Oh my gosh, it's Gronk! I need to grab Brady and Gronk in the 4th and 5th round because they're going so late." But definitely didn't happen here. I think our receivers are pretty strong, considering we went running back early. Coming back to your question earlier, like what happens to your receivers when you go running back earlier in a non PPR or a half PPR format? Well, you still get a pretty decent squad. So I could have gone Chris Godwin here, and then I don't think Jonathan Taylor makes it his way back to me. Gronk or Brady went in the 4th. I'm guessing you mean Gronk. I mean, that's yeah, like his ADP jumped all the way up to like the 5th round in the last couple weeks. He was like the only guy that had a meteoric rise in ADP too. Take Ryquell Armstead. Yeah, no. The running backs are just disgusting right now. The only guy I'm even remotely interested in would be Joshua Kelly or Jerick McKinnon. And Gronk still hasn't gone. I wonder if he's even going to get drafted at this point. I wish I had enough people in here to make bets. We could make a bet on what round he's going to go. Yes. Yes. I picked up Jalen Reagar because in one of my leagues, after he got hurt, he got dropped. And I just picked him up on a whim because it's a pretty deep league. If you have a deep bench, now, when I say deep, I mean like you still have a few guys that you're comfortable churning after week 1 because you you don't want to have too many players that you're like holding on to. So if you have like 3 handcuffs and a couple of receivers you're convinced are going to break out, but they have a rough couple first weeks, you don't want to do that to yourself, because week 1 and week 2, you really want to have some people that you're comfortable throwing back to the waiver wire and being able to draft some or pick up some new people. So that's the only risk with having guys like Reagar, because you're not going to drop him because he's not going to show you anything week 1 because he's hurt. But that being said, if he's only out for a week or two, he was getting drafted. He was jumping up to like the 9th, sometimes even the 8th round, and now you're getting him for free. So if he's on the waiver wire and you have a deep enough bench, I would absolutely pick up Jalen Reagar, especially if you don't believe in Deshaun Jackson, because Jalen Reagar was balling out prior to getting hurt. It was such a stupid injury, man. What are you doing tackling a defender on an interception? I mean, I guess it's in the moment, you're just playing the game, but that sucked. Like I've been all in on Jalen Reagar. That one like hurt my soul when he got hurt. So I'm really hoping that he comes back very quickly. I'd rather have Jalen Reagar than Mike Williams, that's for sure. Mike Williams, like, they can't make up their minds. Oh, he's out for a month. Just kidding, he's not out at all. Just kidding, he's probably out for a month. Just kidding, he's a game time decision for week 1. Like, I don't even know what to think of him right now. I just know I don't want to draft him. There we go. Rob Gronkowski off the board at pick 12-3. Very nice. Go to someone else's team so I don't have to think about it. All right, Kyle, I'm curious. How do you feel about N'Keal Harry this year? Think he's going to be garbage? Or do you think Cam ends up choosing him as your favorite? To your question, boy, I like all those guys. Is this a PPR league that you're talking about? If it's a PPR league, that changes my mind on a few things. All right, we're back on the clock. Blake Jarwin went off the board, so I'm not going to get to stack any Cowboys, but we're just going to go all out with the Titans and take Johnny Smith. Kyle, I'm asking about N'Keal Harry, because I'm in on Cam Newton, and I think James White and Julian Edelman are the reasons why. But with them releasing Sanu and N'Keal Harry potentially playing the Kelvin Benjamin role, do you think that he has any value? All right, half PPR. So Joshua Kelly's not going to get many receptions. Chris Thompson is, to me, kind of one of those guys you really only want in like full PPR leagues. So of those people, I would probably prefer Reagar over Thompson, but it depends on if you actually have any depth at your running backs. Otherwise, like, is Chris Thompson having to start for you, or is he like your running back 4 or 5? Yeah, I don't know what to think. Harry could be the number 1, or he could be like forgotten. It's not like Cam Newton has this history of fantasy relevant receivers. And I don't think Julian Edelman is just going to go away. And I think James White is going to get a ton of work in the passing game. But Harry could be one of those guys that ends up like 50% catch rate, but has 10 touchdowns, right? Oh gosh. If Corey Davis balls out week 1, I give up on fantasy in general. Yeah. Edelman is definitely being disrespected. And a lot of it, I think, has to do with the fact that he was just hurt all last year, but he still balled out. Like, he was still really good last year. So that one I don't understand at all. So you got Jacob Mixon and White. So I feel like you could probably. It depends on how sharp your league is. I personally, I'm with you. I think Kelly is going to end up being pretty productive, but I'm not sure how much work he's going to get in week 1. And if your league isn't super sharp, you'd probably have a better shot at being able to sneak him back on your roster after week 1 than you would Chris Thompson. But personally, just in thinking about it in half PPR, oh, that's a close one. Let me actually look. Where do I have Chris Thompson here? So I have Chris Thompson above Josh Kelly by a few spots. But I think in terms of upside, who has the better chance at actually doing something significant for your team, I would prefer Josh Kelly. So I guess that's what it comes down to. If you think you're ever going to come to a point that you have to start somebody, Chris Thompson is going to give you a little bit more of comfort level. But overall, I would probably rather have Joshua Kelly and Jalen Reagar than Chris Thompson in a half PPR setting with a strong core like you already have. Hope that helps. It's definitely close. And Ben Roethlisberger going, Tom Brady is still here. Should I just do it? I already have Dak Prescott, but should I just grab Tom Brady? I feel like I need to take Daniel Jones because of all the Giants quarterbacks that I have. But then again, also need Ryan Tannehill if we want to get all of the Titans minus Corey Davis. Yes, and Paris Campbell, I was going to bring him up. Paris Campbell is 100% still here and is 100% my pick if he's still there by the time it gets here. We're almost done. Got 3 Titans. Should get another Giant, so I have 3 Titans and 3 Giants. Brian Edwards. Come on, Campbell. Yeah. Paris Campbell is the reason I don't understand the thirst for Michael Pittman. Like, when we look back at the archetype of a receiver that Phillip Rivers likes to throw to, like, Paris Campbell fits that bill really well. He's a guy that gets a lot of his work in that short and intermediate zone, can make a lot with yards after the catch, great route runner. I mean, he's basically like Curtis Samuel in a sense, whereas Michael Pittman is probably closer comparable to like Mike Williams. So yes, T.Y. Hilton is still there, but if there's a guy that pairs closer to Keenan Allen, it's most certainly Paris Campbell, not Michael Pittman. So these people that are all up on themselves thinking about Michael Pittman being this fantastic steal, like Paris Campbell had the same draft capital last year. People just forgot who he was because he suffered so many injuries last year. So I'm hoping I'm not jinxing myself here, but if Paris Campbell is here, that is most certainly the pick, and that's probably going to be it for me for receivers because that'll be 6 on my roster. I only have 4 running backs, which I'm fine with because, again, we're shooting for upside. I might just take Darrington Evans to complete the Titans stacks here. Yeah, I can't believe Tom Brady hasn't gone yet, unless I just missed it. Did I miss it? No, Tom Brady is still sitting right there. Jack Doyle goes over Tom Brady. Devine Ozigbo goes over Tom Brady. Paris Campbell goes over Tom Brady. We're just going to start announcing each pick with goes over Tom Brady because that's effectively what this means at this point. This happened in my draft last night. I got Drew Brees in the 14th round. Like, it's just, he kept falling and he kept falling. So it's like, okay. All right, so I don't need any more receivers. I don't need any more tight ends. Got 3 picks left. I either go running back, or running back quarterback. I would drop Armstead. I I just don't think that there's going to be a running back on that team that ever puts up consistent fantasy production. And I mean, if you're going to roster any Jaguars running back into week 1 other than Chris Thompson, I think it would be James Robinson, just because he's going to get the start and he could be good enough to actually get some workload. But I don't really know if there's going to be any consistent running back the entire year, because their team could look very much like the Dolphins did last year, where no one ever like no single running back has more than like 500 yards, because they're for one, they're tanking, and they're just going to like cycle through these guys and see what they have. So they're going to give Armstead some run, they're going to give Zigbo some run, they give Robinson some run. Doesn't look like they're going to sign Devonta Freeman, but I like Brian Edwards much better than Raquel Armstead. I think Brian Edwards could go absolute ham against Carolina in week 1, and you're not going to get him for free on the waiver wire if you wait until after week 1. So, I mean, what you really want to do, with the exception of guys like Jalen Reagar that you know are going to be good but aren't going to do anything week 1, you want to backload your bench with guys that are the potential next Terry McLaurin, DJ Chark types, right? Because last year, once Terry McLaurin and DJ Chark went off in week 1, everybody went after them hard on the waiver wire, and then you have to spend all of your fab, or if you're doing like the traditional rolling waiver leagues, you have to hope that you have a high enough waiver pick. And the best thing you can do is try to be fortune teller and reach and grab some guys on your bench, load up with potential, stacks that will give you the upside of, because if you had Terry McLaurin or DJ Chark on your bench last year, imagine what you could have turned that into with being able to trade some of your other guys that you drafted higher for other picks, because they turned into starters every single week. So I think Brian Edwards most certainly has the potential to be this year's Terry McLaurin. So I would much rather have him than Armstead, because Armstead isn't even going to play week 1. So I don't think anyone's going to pick him up. If they do, they're just wasting a roster spot at this point. So I'm staring down Jerick McKinnon and Benny Snell pretty hard here. Darrell Williams or Justin Jackson are interesting too, but I'm hoping Jerick McKinnon makes his way back to us. Yeah, exactly. With James Conner just not able to ever play a full 16 games, Benny Snell is a very interesting pickup late in drafts. Now, I personally think Anthony McFarland is the best running back on that team, but I don't think he's going to get the workload unless Benny Snell just sucks and James Conner is hurt. But so far, what we've heard from Steelers camp is Benny Snell looks like a new running back, and he's actually running really good. And I really think he would end up being the guy if Conner goes down. And we can't predict injury as much as we try to. There's probably a slightly higher chance that James Conner gets hurt over other running backs being drafted around him. But at the end of the day, I mean, any player can get hurt on any given play. So I've gotten past the point where I'm not really fading James Conner anymore, but I'd still love to take Benny Snell in the back half of most drafts, just on the chance that he turns into a league-winning running back for you. Yeah, man, Oakland is crazy. Like, and then they trade Lynn Bowden away, spend a third round pick on him, and then they trade him away effectively for a fourth round pick. Like, I don't know why they picked him, but there's probably a reason for that. But oh, you got sniped. Oh, that sucks. Well, the nice thing about guys like Benny Snell is that's the kind of person on most people's rosters that will get dropped after week one. Once, some people come up on waivers and they go after him, that's typically the first guy that people will drop. So just keep that name in the back of your mind, and you wait long enough and James Conner doesn't get hurt the first week, you probably still have a chance at getting him later, unless it's the Conner owner. If it's the Conner owner, then they should never drop him. Like, that's one of those. There's some running backs that, like, you can handcuff. Like, if you get Aaron Jones, like, you can grab A.J. Dillon. But are we really sure that A.J. Dillon is going to be the guy? Or is it just going to be a 50-50 split between him and Jamal Williams? Same thing with, like, Austin Eckler. Like, I like Josh Kelly, but Justin Jackson's going to get a lot of run if Eckler goes down. Whereas, like, if you have Cook or you have Kamara or you have James Conner, I want Madison, Murray, or Benny Snell, because they actually can produce 80-90% of the production if they're actually given that workload. And while I don't compare Benny Snell athletically to a guy like Madison or Latavius Murray, I know what I know about Mike Tomlin, and he always prefers to have a lead workhorse back in his backfield. So, like Benny Snell. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that Williams will end up getting more of the workload. So, A.J. Dillon, I just don't believe in him. I'm a Packers fan, and this whole draft just upset me, like, hardcore. But, yeah, I think people got super excited when they saw his thighs, but he hasn't done anything other than have a really nice picture to show off his size, which means nothing at the end of the day. People are shooting fireworks in my neighborhood right now. My dog is shaking at my feet. I have like a little foot massage going on right now. The other thought is I could just reach and take the Buffalo Bills defense because they play the Jets and the Dolphins in the first couple of weeks. Oh, never mind. Buffalo Bills are gone. Jared Goff is gone. I think that the pick to me is pretty clear. Jerick McKinnon right here. He's been killing it in camp and has a chance of potentially being the lead back there. So we'll take him for the upside shot. And then, should we take a second quarterback? Should we grab Darrington Evans, Benny Snell, or Ryan Tannehill? That is the question. Yeah, Williams was good last year, and he had that really nice, like, back corner of the end zone reception that made a lot of highlights. All right, so I just posted that up. Are we taking Ryan Tannehill, Benny Snell, or Darrington Evans? So right now, we'll run back our roster in case we've forgotten. We've got Dak Prescott, we've got Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, Mike Gesicki, DeAndre Swift, James White, Brandon Cook, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Jonnu Smith, Paris Campbell, and Jerick McKinnon. So we've got 5 running backs. Dak Prescott, number 1. And I think I'm with you, where I'm thinking about Snell here, just for the potential that James Conner gets hurt. And I think Ryan Tannehill will be there on the waivers. Tyrod Taylor. Exactly. Or I could just take Darrington Evans and Ryan Tannehill and have 5 Infinity Stones. I was talking to my friends earlier. I'm like, I want players that play for a coach that said publicly that he would cut his junk off if it meant he could win a Super Bowl. Like, that's the kind of energy I want for my fantasy players. Did any of you guys see that interview from last year when they were talking with Mike Vrabel? Let's see if I can find it for you guys. Oh, I missed that episode. I need to go back and see that. Uh, Gridiron Heights. Goodness. All right, one pick away from grabbing Mr. Snail, and we will do it. Benny Snell, welcome to the roster. All right, we only got one pick left, and it's going to be. I guess we don't have to draft a defense. We could just pick one up off of waivers before Sunday. Might just do that. Because I'm not quite sure who I want. Maybe the Colts, because the Colts played the Jaguars. Oh, yeah, Damian Williams went. Thank you, auto pick. It's a 15th round, so it doesn't hurt him too much. But Mahomes was doing the surgery. Oh, I need to go back and watch that one. I know Curtis Samuel went really late. He actually went he went undrafted in a couple of my leagues. Like, people are just completely out on him, which, I mean, with them bringing Robbie Anderson in, and it's probably, it's not like Teddy Bridgewater is going to throw up 600 bombs, but I think Curtis Samuel has a shot. Like, he had the most unrealized air yards of any receiver last year. He's really good. He's really athletic. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, it was definitely a good pick. I would have considered him, but I wanted to take a few more running backs since I feel pretty strong about the 6 receivers I have, and I only have to start 2 of them. So get some upside guys with Mckinnon and Snell this late. Oh no, they took Ryan Tannehill from me. Still get Darrington Evans. No, I think that's a lock. I would be shocked if Curtis Samuel didn't get 50 to 60 catches. Now, whether or not that's enough to ever put on your fantasy team, I don't know. But yeah, Damian Williams getting picked. It's definitely going to have a very unique roster, but that's what you get for going on auto. Good night, Kyle. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for having a good conversation with us. Yeah, this was fun. I'm hoping we can get some more community elements like this going, because I'd love to do like a listener league with you guys. So keep an eye out for that and let me know if that's something that'd be interesting to you. Yeah, rounding out this last pick here. If the Colts are there, I'll probably take the Colts. If not, I'll just take Darrington Evans and pick up a defense off a waiver before Sunday. Alshon Jeffrey. Good luck to you too, Ryan. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. Larry Fitzgerald's completely forgotten right now. Oh yeah, why didn't we take Minshew in the first? I think that pretty much does it. For those of you that are interested, I'll put a link in the description to if you want to see the whole draft board. Just run it back real quick and just give you guys some snapshots. So first 6 rounds, you can pause it. Come down and show round 7 through to 11. If you're looking for ADP for tomorrow. And then rounds 12 through 15. Run back our roster one last time. I'll go Dak Prescott, Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Brown, Mike Gesicki, DeAndre Swift, James White, Brandon Cook, Sterling Shepard, Darius Slayton, Jonnu Smith, Paris Campbell, Jerick McKinnon, Benny Snell, and either Darrington Evans or the Colts defense. For the sake of just, I don't think I need to keep this going, but appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll see you next time on the Fantasy Addiction Network.